The title of this is Klaus Schwab, the most dangerous man in the world. Let's add to stream here. If you guys can't hear me or hear the playback in the live chat, just let me know. And for those of you that are listening to the replay, because these podcasts, by the way, they're also in Spotify and Apple and all that sort of stuff, and SoundCloud. Just a fair warning, I've got this at 1.75 speed. So if you're already listening at 1.75 speed, it's going to sound pretty crazy. So slow down your playback speed right now, but listen up here.
Schwab writes the following. One of the greatest lessons of the past 5 centuries in Europe and America is this. Acute crisis contribute to boosting the power of the state. It's always been the case, and there is no reason why it should be different with a pandemic.
So and I've got to pause this from time to time just to, for YouTube issues, just to comment on it. But never let a good crisis go to waste is basically, the distillation of what he's getting out over there. It's been done that way throughout history. People that actually, let me summarize it this way. Human beings love being ruled. Okay. I've said this several times before. It's obvious to me now. I don't know if it's obvious to you guys yet. If you haven't noticed, since 2019 up until very recently, you've been lied to, and manufactured indignation, right? They said there was a pandemic coming and bad shit was going to happen, and we ought to all, toe the line and stand on dots and wear masks and stay inside and all that stuff. Last time I checked, when I looked up what the definition of pandemic was, it's when a crisis affects the world and people die. A lot of people die, in fact. And it had a survival rate like over 99.9%. So don't think it was a pandemic, but they tried. Anyway, let's continue playing this over here because I want to talk about the lies after I'm done through this clip.
Nobody ever elected Klaus Schwab to anything. This all just sounds like conspiracy, doesn't it? The World Economic Forum are good guys. Haven't you seen the headlines they pay for? Go green, right?
I want to talk about that go green thing because I wish I had some tinfoil in my house because I don't have any. I was looking for some so I could make a tinfoil hat whenever I needed to talk about something that might need to be understood from that perspective. The whole go green thing it's nice and it sells well, and it's got traction. There's no question that climate changes throughout history. I'm pretty sure human beings have an influence on that. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, when you dig up carbon from the ground and you combust it and you put it back in the atmosphere in large quantities, it's going to contribute some change out there. But I don't want to give away the full summary yet because I kind of want to deal with that towards the end when I deal with the solutions and what I think is happening with that flow. But yeah, the whole green movement, seems all nice, warm and fuzzy because you want to save the baby seals and the polar bears and stuff like that. But there's some other stuff going on behind the scenes, which I'll get to in a little bit after we're done this clip here.
Right? That's probably right. They truly are good guys. Accordingly, you'll be excited to hear that the lineup of World Economic Forum speakers at their annual gathering of elites in Davos included such benevolent humanitarians like Xi Jinping, the leader of the Chinese Communist Party, who's currently committing genocide, Anthony Fauci, who's arguably currently involved in crimes against humanity, and Bill Gates, who's arguably currently involved in crimes against humanity. And
I saw this TED Talk that Bill Gates gave and a few other subsequent videos that were recommended to me after I watched it, where he was talking about a pandemic coming. This was around 2014 to 2016. And it would be a SARS-CoV type of pandemic, right? I don't think it's a coincidence that he was talking about it during that time. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he was so heavily involved in the narrative around what Fauci was talking about, and also the fact that, vaccinations were going to play a very big role and how we profited from it too as well. But let's keep going through this guy's clip here.
Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who's arguably currently involved in crimes against humanity. What a great lineup. But my favorite Economic Forum speaker of all time is this reptile, Klaus Schwab's top advisor, Dr. Yuval Noah Harari. Let's see what he has to say.
Data might enable...
Now, I don't think he mentions it here, but Noah Yuval Harari is the author of the book Sapiens, which I actually have pinned below on all my videos on my Amazon recommended reading list. He also wrote a follow-up book, which is called Homo Deus. Sapiens is basically a brief like history of humankind as we've operated as sapiens and how we've moved around the earth and what effect we've had on the earth and all that stuff. And I thought it was a relatively good book. You know, it essentially concluded that the reason why society is the way that it is today, and it mentioned liberalism a lot towards the end, and it also talked a lot about how gossip was essentially what made us unbeatable on the planet and made us a dominant species. But in his follow-up book, he also talks about AI and what sort of future he foresees the way liberalism is taking things. I didn't know this dude was a consultant to Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum until I started consuming a lot more of the content. What does it say at the top there? It says, Dr. Yuval Noah Harari is a transhumanist and top advisor to Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. So let's hear what this guy has to say about stuff here.
Human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
Elites hacking organisms and re-engiering life itself? Well, he's not talking about doing that to people, is he?
Now, in the past,
he's not talking about doing that. Sure, he's not talking about doing it to lizards, is he? What does it say at the top there? Dr. Norville. Okay, so that's
many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo.
Why does he keep talking about hacking people? Like, what is this guy on about now?
Nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people.
I guess he was talking about doing that to people. All people, to be specific.
And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest.
So if you guys have been asleep the last decade or so, information is the most valuable currency to elites. People that run these large companies, large governments, or nonprofit organizations like World Economic Forum. By the way, that's a nonprofit organization and they have a membership, and it wasn't clear what the membership was. On the low end, they mentioned $67,000. And on the high end, one piece of content that I came across, it's $627,000. So it's unclear what it costs to become a member and contribute and to influence the ideology, but it's not cheap for most people. I mean, $60,000, you're going to get a lot more people in. I suspect it's probably in the six-figure range. Let me just quickly have a quick look at the super chats here. Dude is Desi says, down with the great rest every second. I get an amen. Have you heard Elon Musk talking about robots making human labor a thing of the past and universal basic income for all the future? Yeah, that's where things are potentially going. Universal basic income is, for those that are unclear, is basically the state giving you, I'm just going to call it money, for the time being. It's a placeholder term, but, we'll call it money because you can buy shit with money. But the government's going to give you money where you'll be able to take care of your living expenses, and things like robots or AI will take care of most menial tasks. Like, when your grandfather or great grandfather came back from the war in World War II and started working in a factory, maybe screwing caps on toothpaste tubes or something like that, and you could have a family and a house and a white picket fence and all that sort of stuff, and you'd come home and your wife would kiss you on the cheek like Leave It to Beaver. Yeah, those days are certainly not going to be around anymore. It like with AI and with robots, a lot of things will be automated, and you'll end up basically just getting money from the state to take care of your basic needs. But it's unclear how much of the basic needs will be taken care of, and what things that they're going to automate with robotics and AI. But there's certainly a lot more people than what we need in the labor force right now. We don't, with robots and AI, you don't need much of a labor force, for being honest. I'll get to these super chats in a minute. Let me just keep playing this.
Revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed.
Not playing God, are you? Because that usually works out super well.
Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design, not the intelligent design of some God above the clouds.
Oh, you are playing God. Say more.
Playing God, eh? Some God above the clouds. I need to stand up for this. This is going to get intense. Okay, play.
Evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design. And the intelligent...
This guy's not fond of religion, by the way. He talks mostly about stuff tied into the scientific community. Most guys in the scientific community are atheists, of course. But he's kind of opposed to that. And he talks a lot about like gays and stuff like that, and a lot of the content that I came across too.
Design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution.
Gosh, you wouldn't by chance have a plan in place on how to control people with your cloud technology, would you? And that plan isn't by chance already being implemented, is it?
Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale.
How many times has this guy said this now? We can hack human beings on a massive scale. I mean, they're already tracking all of your data. You don't have privacy. We haven't had privacy for quite a long time. Basically, ever since we've had these handheld devices, Google Home speakers that you talk to, Alexas. If you think that they're not listening all the time, like if you think they're only listening when you go, "Hey Google" or "Hey Alexa," you're not awake, dude. Like you're plugged in. There's a reason why I don't have one of those fucking things in my house.
Oh, so you could implement it.
In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste.
Sounds familiar, and I guess you are implementing it already.
We've heard, I don't know, probably at least 4 or 5 like significant world leaders regurgitate that term. Justin Trudeau said it like dozens of times over the last year. It's
Didn't anyone bother telling this guy not to say any of this out loud on camera? It's a lot of evidence.
Surveillance. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin.
So yes, look, there's guys that are going to argue, "Oh, they're not going to surveil you, Rich. It's fucking easy." Yeah, okay. What's happened? Like over the last couple of years, we've had concentration camps built in several countries. They force you to download an app here in Canada if you want to travel federally. So the provincial governments have been a little more on the side of the people, whereas the federal government's been more on the side of totalitarianism sort of thing. So if you want to travel, you have to have this app on your phone. Apparently, like even when the app's on your phone and you approach the border, you don't even have to show them, the barcode of the app. They just know that it's you because they're tracking your device. Surveillance has been going on for a long time. You don't have privacy. You have probably 90% less privacy than what most people think. Most people that are plugged in, they're sleepwalking through life, if I can put it that way.
My brain, my body, my life, does it belong to me or to some corporation or to the government or perhaps to the human collective?
This guy's revealing the whole plan. He's going to ruin it. The World Economic Forum, out for the good of humanity. You'll own nothing, not even your own DNA, if we have our way. Now for some additional fun facts about Klaus.
So I don't know if you guys recall, but the vaccine that was created was mRNA, and we've seen Dr. McCullough and a few others speak about the nature of it. They're already hacking human beings, right? In this case, the argument was, well, this will make the vaccine more effective and work faster and blah, blah, blah. But again, all I see is lies. All I'm doing is I'm just pointing to the fact we didn't have a global pandemic. There was no mass extinction. The lockdowns didn't work. The masks don't work. We know that the virus particle is smaller than what the mask can filter. The vaccination did not deliver as promised, stopping transmission and stopping you from getting it. Most people that get it, most people that transmit are vaccinated. So there's no logical reason why you should have a QR code on your phone if you want to travel out of a Canadian airport today. But most people do it. I mean, most people are under surveillance.
Schwab and the World Economic Forum. They've got a Young Leaders program, which is a 5-year indoctrination program into their principles. The goal of the program is to create world leaders who...
I love how he calls it an indoctrination program, which essentially is what it is.
Don't answer to their people because they don't care about them. They answer to their bosses at the World Economic Forum. Graduates of the program include admirable world leaders that are suspiciously in lockstep with the Great Reset, such as Justin Trudeau, Francis Macron, and Mark Zuckerberg, sponsoring partners of the World Economic Forum's Young Global...
Also the leader of Australia, New Zealand, I think Boris Johnson. It seems like the U.S. is reasonably resilient to this, which is a good thing for Americans. They're also the most armed country in the world too, aside from Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. But we already know that Joe Biden's a puppet. Like he's not there. It's like we used to joke back in the day. We'd say, if somebody was stupid, we'd say, look, the motor's running, but nobody's behind the wheel, sort of thing. That's what you got with Joe Biden, right? Like he has handlers. So he's just a placeholder for the people that don't want to be in front of the camera, but are basically pulling the strings, if you know what I'm saying. So they don't seem to be subscribing to the WEF stuff, hook, line, and sinker, like Macron, Trudeau, and a few of the other world leaders as well right now. But let's keep going.
Leaders program have been the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Google. I wonder why Google censors and shapes information to be in exact support of the World Economic Forum's narrative. Oh, another fun fact. The World Economic Forum is predicting a worldwide cyber attack. I'm pretty much a wizard at predicting.
Okay. Predicting a worldwide cyber attack. So let's just think for a second. What country is known to have phenomenal hackers? Russia. Where is there a conflict going on in the world right now? Well, on the border between Russia and Ukraine. It's entirely feasible that something like this could come out of it. Hey, listen, just fair warning, that's the whole tinfoil hat thing that I wanted to sort of like have handy. Maybe I'll have to get one for you guys, if I keep doing stuff like this, but let's keep going.
The things I'm going to do too. The very concerned Schwab believes the cyber attack could bring a complete halt to our power grid, transportation, hospital services, and to our society as a whole. The World Economic Forum then simulated the cyber attack. Simulated or planned? I'm not sure, but they said it was a simulation, so it's probably best to just believe them. Oh, also the World Economic Forum, along with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, which oddly enough played out exactly as they planned, or simulated, or whatever. Let's move on. And here's a picture of Klaus Schwab sitting in front of a statue of Vladimir Lenin. I wonder why he's got a statue of one of the most murderous world leaders in history. Lenin killed an estimated 5 million people. And finally, remember Schwab's whole thing about you'll own nothing and be happy about it?
Look at this dork over here. They just find stock photography and slap some slogan on it that I'm sure a large part of the population thinks is a pretty cool idea. Yeah, it's it's just insane how pacification of the West is all consuming.
What's the World Economic Forum's plan to make that happen? Well, it's probably nothing, but consider this. BlackRock is an investment firm with $9 trillion under management, which is a higher GDP than every country on Earth, aside from the US and China. Before it turns out, BlackRock has more political and financial influence than the Federal Reserve and most governments. Sounds cool, but what's the connection with the World Economic Forum? Well, again, and it's probably nothing, but BlackRock CEO Larry Fink is also just a board member of the World Economic Forum.
Let me just pause for a second, get a super chat here, just take a break from the playback. F22 Daniel, what bothers me about Orwell's 1984 is that he writes about all the problems regarding authoritarianism, but provides no solutions whatsoever. I will provide you with solutions today. Stay to the end. I am known for providing solutions. Sit tight, brothers. I got you covered. Hey, Rich, you should read the book, The Next Million Years, How to Kill Off Excess Population by Charles G. Darwin. It's public domain. You can read it for free. All right. Let's keep playing.
Well, that's super convenient. It probably just a coincidence. Is the World Economic Forum and BlackRock colluding in corporatism, where an unelected corporate elite dictates top down to the population? Well, they couldn't be doing that because they'd have to infiltrate the government, which they haven't done. Except for, in one of Joe Biden's first appointees once he took office, he named Brian Deese to be the director of National Economic Council. Brian Deese came from BlackRock.
Okay. Yeah, we're starting to connect some dots here. Let's keep going.
He was a global head of sustainable investing, and now he's Biden's main advisor for economic policy. But Biden's making the policy decisions, not the unelected corporate elites at BlackRock and the World Economic Forum. Of course, Biden's making all the decisions. Let's not be silly. Oh, look, there's a picture of Biden in the audience at the World Economic Forum. Oh, and also Kamala Harris's chief economic advisor is Michael Pyle. He came from BlackRock, where he was a global chief economic strategist.
Are you guys starting to see a pattern here?
Kind of just overseeing the strategy for investing $9 trillion. Well, it looks like corporatism, but it's probably not. But if it was, it would actually be a viable strategy for BlackRock and the World Economic Forum to own everything and for you to own nothing. Oh, fun fact, BlackRock is buying up single-family homes at an alarming rate, oftentimes
So at no time in history has a institution bought up single-family homes at the rate that BlackRock is right now, by the way. He doesn't clarify that, but there is a bunch of other content that I came across that detailed it.
20 to 50% above asking price.
And they're overpaying for the real estate too, 20 to 50% higher, by the way.
So normal people like you and I can't own homes. Now, there is an interesting pattern to all this. You know how you hear about ancient tyrannical rulers who would rule over their dumb people by saying things like, yeah, if you don't do all of this slave labor and let me sleep with your wives, then God's going to make you all perish in a deadly storm. Well, God told me, and because I'm elite, I have access to this knowledge and you don't. So you better do as I say or you're going to die. Well, us peasants can't perceive what the king can, so we better do as he says.
Again, right? People love being ruled. That's what humans like. They like a ruler. They love it. They love it. That's why when they said, oh, we got to lock you down, you got to wear these masks and stand on dots. Like, people love standing on their dots, man.
Go ahead and bang my wife. And thank you for doing it for my protection, King. Good old fear-mongering. A predictable pattern as old as time itself. But with Klaus and the World Economic Forum, it's climate change is going to kill you. Disease is going to kill you. And a cyber attack is going to get you. So you better do as we say.
Let's just recap. Climate change, disease, and cyber attacks. All things that you really can't pinpoint a source on. Just remember that, because there's a reason why COVID originated from China. It's a communist country. Where are you going to get the source data from? They're going to hide it from you. That's different with a democratic country. Even then, they're still going to try to hide it. We still don't know anything about this Hunter Biden laptop situation, of course, but, you know, China was convenient for sure. Dude, like that was not a bat banging a snake. That's not where it came from.
You're going to die. I don't know. It looks pretty good to me. Why don't you ever smile, Klaus? You look like a sociopath. No, you don't understand. We elites have access to knowledge that you don't. So you better listen to us or you're going to die. Same old fun pattern of fear mongering. They know of the scary problems and only they have the solutions. So listen up or you're going to die. Gotcha, Klaus. Nothing new here.
I like this guy. He's solid, man. Like he's funny.
We see you. In conclusion to the question, is Klaus Schwab the most dangerous man in the world? Here's his top guy again.
Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will. That's over.
Free will, that's over. So free will is over. Let that like marinate on that for a bit, right? Your free will, as far as these guys are concerned, is over. I remember when free will was a cool thing. Oh, I can't wait till I'm an adult so I can get a driver's license to drive a car and go where I want, sort of thing. Can't wait till I'm an adult and I make some money so I can travel and go where I want. Haven't been able to do that for like 3 years in Canada.
Will indeed be over if you outsource your thinking to outside influences and take the easy way out by choosing obedience over bravery. Doing so makes you very susceptible to being manipulated by fear. And if this happens, you will fail at remaining a free, sovereign individual. But here's how Schwab and his friends, who sociopathically never smile, fail at the Great Reset, and you succeed at remaining.
So he's offering a solution. He's basically saying choosing bravery over obedience. I'm going to talk more about that, and I think it ties more to sovereignty, if I'm being honest.
A free, sovereign individual. Be guided by your own critical thinking and what your heart and soul knows is right. And choose bravery over obedience. Obedience or bravery. Outsource your perspectives or do your own critical thinking. We are in the process of either the Great Reset or the Great Awakening.
All right, so that's that for that. He just kind of drones on for a little bit and then does an ad. Let me see here. What do we got in the super chats? Leo Varadkar, former Prime Minister of Ireland. Doesn't sound like a very Irish name. As a member of the World Economic Forum, last year the Irish in the South fled to Northern Ireland because Northern Ireland had no COVID passports. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have moved around the world as a result of this pandemic lockdown stuff. I have several friends that no longer live in Canada because at one point they were like, yeah, you know what? I don't like the tax rate, but I have family here and I've been here most of my life, so I'm just going to do it, whatever. Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that short clip. If you did, consider supporting the creation of content by checking out my supplement line. Pinned in the top comment below of this video in the comments, there's a link to the unpluggedalpha.com/shop. When you click through, you'll be able to land over here, and the entire lineup is broken down by category that it performs best in: estrogen metabolism, fat burning, your foundational essentials for health, immune health, performance, and testosterone support. If you check out with coupon code ALPHA10, you'll get 10% off on your first order. There's also the option to use the subscribe and save model, where regular shipments will be sent over to you on a regular basis, and that gives you a little bit of a discount, and your supplement facts are always broken down over here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, check out that link. It's pinned in the top comment below in this video. Peace out.